Good morning, my friends. I'm going to get in a, oh, there we go. Sometimes there's this really weird color, but it is a overcast, kind of sticky morning here in Florida, and it is Saturday morning, and the reason I am doing this video is because I enjoyed so much being here with you last Saturday. Good morning, Sherry. So in today's video, we are just going to be together. I enjoyed so much last Saturday having breakfast and coffee with you all that I thought it would be good to do it again. And I don't know if this will be a every Saturday early, first thing in the morning thing for a lot of people. But of course, if this is a different time of day for you, mid-morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching this, I encourage you right now, before I get too deep, good morning, Mary, is to have your coffee or your tea or whatever warm thing you like to drink in the morning, and ideally a snack or breakfast, and let's just kind of settle in together and just recognize that there's not really any other place I'd rather be right now, and I'm happy to be here with you. And I'm not going to talk about anything too deep. Now, that's not my plan. I can't make promises because I do tend to do that. If you're anything like me, I'm not a big small talker. I'm more about like, hey, let's connect. That's about it. So like I'm a connector. And if we don't really do that, it's like, that's okay. No problem. And I'll be here if you want to. But I'm not a big talker at the surface things, if that makes sense. So let's dive in. And I have a question for you all. Is when was the first time you ever had coffee? Because this is a conversation in my house the last couple of days. So let me get a sip of mine and let you think about it. When was the first time you ever had coffee? And I'll tell you my story real quick. So there's a picture of me when I was about 3. And I think it was more sugar and cream than coffee for sure. And there's a picture of my grandpa spoon feeding me like really cooled off coffee. And it looked like it was almost white. It was so, I don't think it had too much coffee in it, but that was the first time I'm sure I was feeling pretty special, getting the grown-up stuff. Which reminded me of that because I don't think I drank coffee at all. I don't remember drinking coffee after that at all until I had my very first job as a dialysis dietitian in like 2004. And then we had coffee in the break room, like constantly going. And I was like, whoa, what is this? This is great. And there weren't Starbucks in any corner at that point, at least in the Midwest or maybe the South. So, yeah, you had coffee. Yeah, thank you. Again, it was like it's a picture, and I barely remember it. I do remember sitting at that counter we had, in my grandparents' house, but and I was so pumped and like kind of feeling like I was doing something I'm not supposed to be, but it's really awesome. But it's cool. But yeah, as an adult, probably I was 24, 25. Now I'm 41, so I've been drinking coffee for a while and have a pretty high tolerance, so I have to be careful because, anyway, we're talking about coffee, Sherry. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's like if there's not coffee, and Mary knows the pain. Dialysis places and coffee. Like if there's no coffee, nobody's happy. When you're working, the nurses, the staff, we're like, gotta have coffee at that place for sure. Yeah, so love to hear about you all's first coffee drinking experiences, what you had. So I want to share with you. I'm doing my breakfast this morning is I made another smoothie like last week, only because I have a bunch of frozen stuff I kind of need to use, but it's really good. And then I've got my bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit thing that I really like to make. It's a pretty common breakfast around here. We're kind of warm breakfast eaters, that kind of thing. So I wish that we were more cereal people, but none of us seem to kind of be into it. And it's always kind of been that way. So I have to, make the food. That's right, Mary. Like everybody at Dallas is work with the crack of dawn. Like I used to get to work at 7. So yeah. So now that we talked about coffee, anybody else who's joining right now, if you can remember your first coffee drinking experience, if you loved it, you hate it, if there's a sweet story, would love to hear about it. That's pretty fun. I told you I was eating breakfast this morning with you, so if you're hearing crunching, that's the way it's going to be. That sounds good, Mary. Caramel and cream, so good. My other question I had, so I said I had 3 things this morning as we're drinking coffee and eating breakfast, is that I wanted to know, besides the first time I had coffee, and if it was like, wow, where's this been all my life? Or it was just like, ugh. And then you just either found another way now, but and T2 that counts. Oh, hey, Debbie. I bet you could remember. But I was telling the story earlier of, I think I was 3 when I first had coffee. And then I didn't have it again that I remember until I was like 25. So anyway. Second question I had is what was the last movie? Because I was thinking about this last night because I was watching, I finally saw Mr. Rogers, that's a show about him, his story, and mostly about the writer, but it was about him too. Is that, what was the last movie you watched? Maybe about a person or maybe about an event that then made you want to go find out more about it. So I'm thinking, I want to know more about like him that wasn't on TV all the time, Mr. Rogers. It'd be interesting. So finding a biography, if there's more out there, but it made me want to think, oh, when is, like, that would be really cool. So if any, I'd love to hear about any movies, because I feel like right now, and I actually personally haven't watched a lot of TV movies recently because I've just been so busy with work and homeschool. But I was wondering if there are any, movies that made you want to research or look up or read more about the person or the event. So mine's Mr. Rogers. What have you watched lately? Because I'm kind of interested in some, like, I don't know. I have a really hard time, for me personally, with movies that are like blah, sad. I don't know right now. So it's like, what are some kind of movies about people that, even if they've had tragedy, there's some triumph in that. I'm really interested. And Faith, I'm glad you're here live as well. And some people are eating. I'm drinking coffee and eating. Some people are drinking coffee or tea or whatever's going on. So I'd love to hear from you all. So this is not going to be, I'm teaching a bunch of stuff video. It's really going to be, let's be here together. You know, if you see anybody that you know here and you want to say hi to them, say hi to them. Let's all connect this morning. I think that's really important. And I was saying at the beginning of the video that I enjoyed last Saturday morning's live so much. I mean, I did talk about some topics that we can dig into for sure and to go forward in our journey, but I mostly just got to be here with you, and it was really fun. I enjoyed it all the rest of the day, feeling the feelings from that. I was going to ask somebody, thank you, Mary. So Mary said they watched Call the Wild because they read it in school, and they added in everything that wasn't in the movie. Lots of spoiler alerts. It was so good. My dog likes to watch it too. Mary, let me know. You know, I have a kid under 10, and do you think that would be too scary for her? Because my kid loves animals, especially dogs. So curious. Like, I'd love to hear from you if it'd be too scary. Or if anybody else has seen Call the Wild, because it looks pretty cool. I like a good adventure movie. So, I'd love to hear about that. Hey, Jana, good morning. If I haven't mentioned you, I haven't meant to. I was probably in the middle of talking. So I see somebody named Danny and Sherry. I know Sherry talked to Cassandra and Julie. Anybody else? Melissa, Bev, Lizette. These are all folks that have popped on that I just want to say hi to personally. Good to know you. And if there's anything you would like to add, when was the first time you had coffee that you remember? And how was that experience? Well, I don't know. There's a really good movie, Deb, called Homeward Bound. That's really good. And the dog makes it, I guess I'm spoiling it. He survives. I don't know. I think it was a girl. It was a boy. He survives. So it's all good. That would be a good one you might like. So just putting it out there too. Yeah. That's what I was afraid of, Mary. It was violence toward the dog. I didn't want to go there. And yeah, that's what I was, because I'll wait. She's real sensitive to like people being hurt, as am I, but especially animals. So I'm like, yeah, wait, I don't want the animal, because there was a animated version online one time I found. Oh, thank you, Sherry, for saying Milo and Otis. Cool, thank you. Homeward Bound. Yeah, I think it was good. There's a cool mountain lion in it. It's good. It's a good adventure show. I liked it. But yeah, cool. Pamela, good morning. Glad you're here. So 2 questions I've had. I have one more question for y'all. The second one is, yeah, so that's a good movie. We got totally off track. I was asking about what are some movies that you watch? Like, oh, I want to research more about this. Is there a book to it? Or especially about a person. That sounds good, Jana. Condensed milk to your coffee? Ooh, that sounds good. Now it makes me want to have a cafe con leche. Those are good. So good. Hi, Vanna. We are talking about all kinds of random stuff this morning. We are just having coffee together, connecting, say hi to people here you know if you want to. Yeah, we're just saying hi. I'm eating my breakfast. Some people are drinking coffee or tea, just waking up and hanging out. So say hi to people you know. Let's let everybody be seen, that kind of thing. If you don't know somebody but would like to, welcome to do it. So we're talking about coffee. We're talking about movies you've seen that made you like, whoa, like I want to. No, I haven't got too many movie suggestions right now, Pamela. So thank you for saying that. Eat, Pray, Love. I have not seen it, and I know there's a book. But I know that a lot of these things have come out in, it's almost like I'm in a little bit of a time warp the past 9 years since having a kid of like missing some stuff. I'll be honest. So that's happened for me. Very cool. Oh, and my third question, now that a lot of you are still hanging on, hopefully you're eating breakfast, drinking your coffee, just using this time to sit and find your feet and your seat and your back and noticing how and what is there for you supporting you and kind of like letting your body register that. Yeah, Mary, me too. I mostly just watch movies that, mostly, not always, I let kids see. Inside Out is the first movie I took my kiddo to see. It was out like a week, I think, and I took her to see it, and she loved it. And it's kind of a good discussion piece, for sure. Oh, I know, Debbie. You're just out of bed. And I know some people, like, their day's already really gotten going. Yeah. Yep, Inside Out's a good one. So you haven't seen Inside Out, y'all. It's an animated movie, but it's good. Anyway. Oh, totally, yeah. It's good for everybody. So, for sure. My third question, coffee, movies that made you want to find more information. For me, if you haven't already heard, I said Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood I watched last night. It makes me want to go find a book about him and learn about him, his history, who he was as a person behind the camera, which supposedly he's pretty much the same, but I would love to learn more about that. And now thirdly is the question you have is what, like, kitchen task is your least favorite? And I'm only sharing this because this week I made teriyaki salmon, and I thought I had it all lined so it wouldn't spill over. It spilled over, and my oven is trashed. So now I have to clean my oven today, which makes me so sad because I need to use my oven today. So that means I have to clean my oven today, and I don't want to. So I'm doing some things like this to like get some goodies in. It's this, and I have some other work to do that I really want to be doing, and hopefully getting outside, and then I'll probably procrastinate till it's gross and hot outside this afternoon and do it. That's the plan. So tell me, I would love to hear from you all. What is your least favorite kitchen task? And usually I would say doing dishes, but cleaning the oven's worse. It really doesn't take that long, but I just don't love it. So I'd love to hear what you all, and maybe if you have any okay, Tracy, this is how we can make it better. Or if I have a task that I don't mind so much, I can encourage you with, I'll share it too. So Jana, thank you. Oh, Sherry, yeah, clean the refrigerator. That's not fun either. And Jana, I would love to hear Abbott Brothers. I'll have to maybe Google that if I can remember. So we've got 2 clean the refrigerators. Yeah, that's not a fun one. Mary says chopping vegetables is my least fave. Oh, yes, oh no, I hate cleaning. Me too. It's as much as we're home right now, you'd think our house would be clean. Mine is not. It's looks status quo of how little I do. Megan, thank you for saying that. I should remember to do that. I don't do that enough. I kind of mess around and dance sometimes, but I don't always remember the music. I hear you. Yep, I'm just right with you, Mary. If it's short tasks, I can deal usually, but longer ones, I'm I gotta literally plan it in I'm going to the dentist or something. It's I gotta make this happen. Ooh, Melissa says clean off her daughter's bibs. Yeah, that's never fun. It's they get their own washing job, right? Chopping vegetables, I don't love that either. Yeah, we're all in the same boat, it looks like, y'all. But Megan has do some clean the kitchen. I don't mind having TV on in the background when I clean. That's a good idea. Because music, I tend to get I want to watch it and listen to it and sing, which is not bad, but then I get distracted with actually cleaning. So maybe TV in the background would be better. I might play with that, but music's such a good idea too. Chopping vegetables, I don't love that, but I gotta tell you, my intuitive eating journey helped that so much as I started. Yeah, you guys are doing so great. These are super helpful. I'm not going to read them all out loud because these are just, they're cranking in. This is awesome. Yeah, Debbie. So yeah, Debbie, you should do that. Maybe you could clean and then have somebody cook for you. That'd be awesome. Do a task swap. That'd be cool. Unless I hear podcasts are way better. I do a lot of this, walking around trying to clean and do stuff. That helps me way more. Yeah, for sure. And it's usually need to be something that I don't really have to take notes about, because if it's a podcast or a thing I'm learning that I need to take notes, that's a different time, right? But if it's one I would just kind of always want to catch up on, that's a good idea too. Audiobooks, yeah. Podcasts or the TV in the background. Cool. You guys are awesome. Thank you for helping, and I hope this is helping other people too. Cool. The only thing I have, I want to go back to, totally want to go back to the whole chopping vegetables thing. I don't know if y'all heard my story about some of the barriers I had to doing fruit and vegetables, and one of it was diet culture stuff. So I had to give it a break for months and months, 6 months plus, to want to eat any of it. So I didn't, basically. And then the next barrier was it felt like a lot of time to do it. And so I started off with pre-chopped things. And then eventually, as I recognized I did like these things within my meals, not just as the meal, but within my meals, I started just picking smaller things and doing it, and it got better. But I had my mind that oh, this takes so much time. So one time I set a timer for actually how long it took me, and it was usually 5 minutes or under. And I'm okay, it just feels big. This nurturance feels big, but time-wise is actually not big. So that was helpful. Yeah, thank you, Mary. I appreciate that. And about how long you didn't. I just didn't. I almost, and this was way before, intuitive eating, kind of days were big and popular. It was just I just can't keep buying these things and not using them and wasting them and throwing it away. And I frankly just don't, they repulse me, to be honest. I want to eat them because I have been told I should eat them. But that's not a true want. That's just shoulding myself. And I'm not doing that anymore. So that's how it happened. Yeah, that's right. And you start to learn after a while, yeah. So, well, cool. Does anybody, I want to give some space to you all today. Whoever's I guess there's lots of eyeballs on this video, which I'm so grateful for, and I'm hoping this has given you all time to eat and drink, feel connected, and in that space is, what are you noticing from this space of connecting right now that you maybe like to do with your self-care or connecting with others more, or even with your food today. So give me 1 second. I'm going to have to sneeze. And Irene Lyon would call that follow your impulse. I had to sneeze and I didn't suppress it. So I sneeze over here. And nobody can get it because there's nobody here and I'm outside. So what has this time had you reflect on about what would it be like to take in or be nourished by today? Whether it's more people time, more time to do something that feels nourishing with your body, with your food, whatever. So are we curious if anybody has any thoughts? And we're going to kind of wrap up this space. That's what I usually do. I hope that's appropriate. I usually sneeze into my shoulder. That's the way I do it. Sometimes I open my jacket and sneeze into that. That's typically what I do. So anyway, does anybody, I would love to hear your noticings, like your internal noticings of what this time is like, kind of grounded you to realize or gave you clarity to realize. Move your body today. So that maybe could be house cleaning, right? That's going to be some of mine for sure. That needs to be done. Anything else? Sherry, I hear you. Baked out. I love that. Even the things we love. It's such a example of intuitive eating. Even the things we love, we eventually kind of need a break from. In terms of like activity or whatever, even the best things ever, we won't endlessly want. And that's exactly like intuitive eating. Your favorite food, you're not going to want endless amounts of it forever. That's just not how it works. If you have a food you're afraid of, you're not a bottomless pit of like, I will never get done have room for this. Now, I think sometimes we misinterpret that as like, I'll never get my needs met, but we will definitely get full of food. And even our favorite foods, and kind of lose interest if we can give enough permission to allow that. So, does anybody have anything that they want to share before we sign off this morning about what would feel good? So we've got lots of movements here. So Sari's going to do some attuned eating homework. That's really awesome. Mary, I love that you were willing to drive a half hour. That's about how long it takes me to get donuts. So it's worth it. Percy, you've been that forever. They don't have those here. We just have, we have lots of local bakeries, which is fantastic. But, and of course Dunkin'. That's about it. Cool. Thank you so much for everybody showing up this morning. And I love hearing like, yeah, we've got movement going on. We've got some self-care going on today. It's so great. I know they are better than Dunkin', Mary. I just don't have the option. And there's good bakeries around here, but everything for me is pretty far. So I kind of have to plan for it, which I don't mind, but Cool. So Debbie says she needs to be more productive and do something. Well, make it very, instead of need or should, like I want. What would you like to do that feels supportive? I hear you with intuitive eating, but I gotta tell you, Mary, that after a while, there's a middle ground. Yeah, most bakeries are closed. That's true right now. But Mary, there will be a middle ground. I know you said the other day that you're about a year and a half in one of our other videos. And, for me, I've been doing this since 2003. And you get to the place where it's like you can really, you're still pretty discerning, but you can also, I don't like to use the word settle, but it's not that kind of like, oh, I just have to settle because that's all I deserve. It's like, man, like I don't really want that, but I also need to get my needs met, and this will do kind of thing. That gets easier too, for sure. And, I've had days totally, especially this week, of getting a little cooking burnout to like, yeah, we're having this again, and I don't really want that, and I could feel it. Yeah, I don't really want that, but it's not. It was still really good, so it's interesting. There's a both and. So, all right, I'm going to hop off. Does anybody else want to say something else before we hop off? And as we close this space, I hope that you can still feel yourself with your feet and your seat and your back, that this community is for you and here with you, and see if you can notice in your system where you feel or think that's true, and take those little molecules into whatever you're doing next. Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. And I think right now I do plan on doing this on Saturdays. Probably the same time, kind of early, because I'm up and everybody else is kind of doing their own thing, and we're kind of, just kind of doing our thing. So I'm uninterrupted, and so I enjoy being here with you this morning. And if there's something that comes up for you from this and what this felt like, please let us know in the comments below. And I will see you Monday in a fresh set of videos and a new theme. And if you have any questions or things you want to cover, I'm happy to do that as well. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Mary. And those of you who are just hopping on, please start from the beginning. We just had like a little breakfast and coffee chat. Nothing too heavy today, but just to be here together. So, all right. Thank you all so much for watching. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.